Hi everyone. In this video, we'll be looking into a game between Grandmaster Vishy Anand and Grandmaster Anish Giri from the round 7 of Global Chess League between Team Anand and Team Anish Giri. Let's jump right into the game. Vishy Anand, starting with the white pieces, go for 1 e4. Giri replies with e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, knight to f6, d3, d6. Anand goes for castling, bishop to d7, c3, a6, bishop to a4, g6, rook to e1, bishop to g7, d4. Giri goes for castling, h3, b5, bishop to c2, rook to e8, knight on b to d2, knight to a5, b3, c5, d5, bishop to h6, b4, knight to b7, knight to f1, bishop takes on c1, queen takes on c1, a5, a3, queen to c7, bishop to d3, rook on e to c8, queen to d2, knight to d8, rook on e to c1, c4, bishop to c2, knight to h5, king to h2, f6, g3, knight to f7, knight to e3, rook to a7, bishop to d1, rook on c to a8. So if you look at this position after 26 moves to the game, match is pretty much balanced. So the right continuation here for Vishy Anand is to push his a pawn or to move his queen to b2. But in the game he play a rook on a to b1 and this is a slight mistake. And after this, Anish Giri is having a slight advantage of -1. And he continues with a takes on b4, a takes on b4, knight to g7, h4, rook to a2, rook to c2, rook on 2 to a3, knight to e1, queen to d8, rook on b to b2, f5, e takes on f5, knight takes on f5, knight on 1 to g2, knight takes on e3, knight takes on e3, queen to f6, knight to g4, bishop takes on g4, bishop takes on g4, king to g7, queen to e3, e4, queen takes on e4, rook takes on c3. So if you look at this position, Giri is still having that small advantage. So here the right continuation for Vishy Anand is to put his bishop to e6 and plant the bishop in a strong square. But he play king to g2 instead, and this is another mistake played by him in this match, and Giri's advantage increased further to -1.7. And he continues with rook takes on c2, rook takes on c2, knight to e5, h5, knight to d3. So here Giri is still having the advantage of -1.3. So the right way to continue the game is to push the f4 pawn, try to create some counterplay and try to attack black king. But instead Anand goes for rook to e2 and this is another mistake played by him. And Giri continues with queen to e5 asking for a trade and Anand declines and play queen to f3. Anand is attacking Giri's queen, but there is a crazy move for Anish Giri to play in this position, and that is knight to e1 with check, forking both the queen and the king. And the problem is that only way to minimize the damage is to give away his rook for this knight. And that's exactly how Anand continues and he plays rook takes on e1, queen takes on e1. So Giri is upon 2 points of material upon exchange. And Anand continues with h6 with check, king takes on h6, queen to f4 with check, king to g7, queen takes on d6, rook to f8, bishop to f3, queen to c3, bishop to e4, queen to d4, f3, c3. The pass pawn is being pushed. So what is the best way to prevent that pawn now? Anand plays queen to c5, a desperate attempt to stop the promotion. But once the queens come off the board, it's an easy win for Anish Giri in the endgame, as it will be a rook versus bishop endgame, and Anish Giri's pawn is 2 squares away from being promoted. And Giri accepts the queen trade and he play queen takes on c5, b takes on c5, and he pushes b4. Now he is having 2 connected pass pawns, bishop to c2, king to f6, d6, and king to e5. And it was in this position after 55 moves into the game, Vishy Anand resigned to Anish Giri. The reason for resignation is pretty much clear. Giri is having 2 dangerous connected pass pawns, and his king is advanced as well. And these pawns of Vishy Anand is not going to make it, and it will be these pawns who will be winning the game for Anish Giri. So if Anand decide to continue this game, it will be like bishop to b3, king to d4, king to f2, c6, king to c5, c7, and king takes on d6. As I said, these pawns are never going to make it, and it won't be easy for Vishy Anand to stop these two pawns from getting promoted as well. So foreseeing this, Vishy Anand resigned after king to e5, and Team Anish Giri's domination in the Global Chess League continues as well.